Is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders. Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. We survived CPI, even though the numbers came in like just, not horrific, but it wasn't a beat on most things for anything. I mean, according to estimates, we missed the estimates, but we did come in lower than last year. Core seemed like it was in line. So when you take out housing and you take out energy, so you take out things that people probably actually spend money on, the numbers were kind of still flat. So not a, I don't think a great report, but nonetheless, a media dip on CPI today, and the Bulls did show up today. They showed up just like Al showed up. Albert, good morning to you. Got Andy in the house. Good morning to Art, Bill, Cindy, Corey, David, D. Jason is in the house. Good morning to Jay, Linder. Good morning. We got Joe, Kevin, Lauren, Lucian, Miguel, Mike is Randy. Woo! The squadron is here. We got all my peeps in YouTube land, all my lurkers. Make sure you guys hit that like and thumbs up button. Hit subscribe if you have not done so already. Woo! But we got an interesting gap. So again, a little bit of a retest from yesterday. Yesterday's candle did close inside of yesterday's candle, even though we did have a little gap down. It got a little scary at one point, but nothing too crazy. Pretty much a flat, low range day, and it just felt like we were dragging our feet, waiting for something. We finally got something this morning, and again, a little mixed reaction, but I think ultimately we did run a little bit more bullish. As of now, at least, I would expect a pullback on SPY at open. So something into see if this support 512.62 would hold. If we can, great. That might take us to 514.83, and that would be the resistance for today. If we start breaking that, I don't know if we do. I don't know if we break it today. Don't forget, we got PPI now on Thursday. We also have Quad Witching Day on Friday. I don't know. It seems like we still have to make it through this week, and I think this is a week of a lot of waiting just to get through the numbers, make sure we're in the clear, and then I think we go. I think quad witching will be a big one, obviously, as really the underlying factor that drives a lot of the market is options, and you have the most amount of options expiring for the month happening on Friday. That's going to be a big one, but PPI will be a big one as well. So I think we do have some more waiting to get through. I don't think we're free and clear just to run. We're probably going to be range bound. I think most of this week. That would be my assumption. And I'd still put a bullish lean on everything, especially the fact that we did make it through CPI, which I think is the bigger one out of the two. I think the more weight for inflation news will come from CPI, but the PPI will be, I think, kind of effective and move the market, especially if it's a huge surprise in a negative downside manner. So we'll see. But see if we want to hold this 512.62. If we end up breaking that, I do still have another support sitting somewhere around 510.85. And the closer I think we get into this 512.60 range, the more room we have to that 514. But I think we are probably going to remain a little bit more to the range bound side today. We'll see. We got Qs. Who just says no real help from CPI data. Surprise. Unless you're a bull, then it seemed to work out. But already we started giving some of that back too. So yeah, not a huge help. Uh, I think in line, which is essentially where we got to, kind of like just rounding up. We kind of got to the break even like estimates, almost in line for everything. So not a huge driving factor, surprise one way or the other. And it will put a little more pressure, I think, to PPI. I just don't think we're going to move too much off that. And I think quad witching, let the week settle down, and then I think next week kind of opens up again. But doesn't mean there's not trades out there. Just when the entire market can get a break one way or the other, that would be helpful for everything. But we got the Qs, a little bit of a tight range, so it is a gap and go. I could say at least for the Qs, we've hit every support possible, and we did stay above it. So we ended up getting that to this 435.61. That's been that was retested over here, so that's kind of still held that. But then we have 435, which was never retested, and now we did have a good retest on that too. We're sitting, I have strong support somewhere around 437, or strong resistance from yesterday, strong support today, 437.43. So we're opening northbound of that. That looks good. One big resistance right in front of us, 439.82. If somehow we could get through that, and it's possible, but if I think it's going to be a tough one, knowing that the Bears have to keep that number down. So that's going to be the left. That's going to be the life support for Bears. They're like, hey, Bears engulfing candle, double top, everything looks good. I think if we start making it past this 439.88, somewhere in that zone. But if we start to break that number, the next spot I think will take us to 442.40. Probably a little bit of resistance there, but really, there's not a lot stopping us back to probably this 445 range. So Bears are probably going to sit there heavy. I'm going to assume there's going to be a little bit of a brick wall. And again, maybe some chop. TLT. TLT. Didn't really hold up as well. So again, we're bouncing off that 200. This is a little bit of a retest gap. I don't think it's retest too much. Probably to the 95.39. Do we have the I think we have the 10-year bond auction today. We might also have the 30-year today too. We might have both of those auctions today. If not, I think we have the 10 today and then maybe the 30 tomorrow. Somebody could fact check that. Somebody could give me some Pinocchio noses. The 10-year for sure. I thought I saw the 30-year coming out today too. I was buying some treasuries yesterday and I was like, huh. Tomorrow the 30-year? Okay. So tomorrow we got the 30-year and then today we got the 10. Both the market can move off those. If again, if everything's in line and kind of pretty steady, great. Otherwise, if there's any surprises there, the market can get a little move. So just again, just two more big data pieces we got to get through this week. And after that, it's probably a little bit more smooth sailing until we get Jerome Powell again. To the downside, I got a couple spots over here for TLT, 95.03. Then I'm looking for 94.79. Obviously, we've broken through all those before. And then the next real spot, maybe a retest down to 94.45. So we'll see. But TLT didn't hold up as well. I think I saw a message for 3M. Yeah, Miguel wants to take a look at MMM. Big retest gap. Huh. That is a pretty big gap. What was the news? They made their tape extra sticky, maybe. 3M appoints William Brown as CEO. Some new CEO news. Usually that's fadeable. Usually it's fadeable. This is a good little consolidation sideways. So this is a nice move on 3M. Obviously, a big candle right here, huge volume. This is on the gap down from earnings, which I don't think was horrible. They did beat earnings per share, but they did miss on the rev side of things. Breaking this candle would be mighty impressive. So breaking this candle, starting to get out of 185. That would be major. We also have that 200 in there. So I think we have a decent resistance. That's where I think I know that we're wrong on this trade for this fade. I'd probably want to short as high as humanly possible to it. There should be a decent amount of people that were accumulating shares down in this zone that might be profitable in this little gap up. Obviously, if we start breaking through the highs of that volume candle, we have to be looking almost for this gap fill at minimum 106.48. That would take us back to. Again, with the CEOs, if it's a good company, if it's a company that's supposed to run, it doesn't really matter. I could put a banana wearing headphones as a CEO, and people will be like, okay, the company's just going to do the same thing. So unless you get like a real driver in there, somebody that's like a big public figure, you get the Elon Musks, you get the Jamie Dimons, you get any of those guys that have like main street reputations. Those things will those guys will affect the stock because they themselves are a driver. I'd have to look up who William Brown is. No offense to him, he's probably a cool guy. but he could also be a banana wearing headphones. So I don't know. If the CEO shouldn't matter too much, and usually those are fadeable events. So yeah, maybe look for the fade on this one. That is a really good gap though. Really good gap. And you have clear resistance if you want to try to set a short on that one. We'll throw this one a little bit higher on the list. We will see. Get this one up. Uh, Maybe today 3M has a little bit more range in it. That would be my other concern. Like normally 3M doesn't really move too much. It's not a exciting company. We got LUV, BP, ADM. All right. Before we get to LUV, let's start with Boeing. They have yet another gap down today. So they have the whistleblower from uh the guy kind of telling everybody, hey, I think he was the safety guy. I think he was in charge of like the safety production at Boeing, and he was like, "Yeah, these planes aren't really being built too well." I think he said that there was the oxygen masks only work 25% of the time. So if in case of an actual emergency, which apparently is a daily thing, uh, like only not everybody's mask is probably going to come down, and there's going to be some crazy stuff happening. So he was a whistleblower, but he apparently committed suicide in a parking lot last night or yesterday, I think, sometime during the day, but it came out last night, the report. So probably, I don't know, it seems a little shady, but that was kind of going around, at least on Twitter, and hopefully there's nothing to it, but RIP for sure. But that's bad news again for Boeing. So another bad catalyst, just another negative news cycle, and we're just in this news cycle for now. I think the policy for Boeing is if you do want to own Boeing and be a Boeing shareholder, I think your one policy is like if the planes stay up, the stock stays up. If the planes come down, the stock comes down. It's gonna follow the planes. And right now, you still have wheels falling out of planes and sides blowing off, and who knows? I feel like we're like one catastrophe away from some big news on Boeing, and I hope that doesn't happen. But uh, yeah, another gap down. So this one is probably a little bit more. I don't know. We're kind of below some key supports. I would think this is a retest gap. I'd see if we can get some kind of support first. See if this one wants to drop a little bit further. There's probably some really tired bulls on this thing, and probably 187.87 maybe could come in as some kind of support. If not, look for like 186.77, and then probably play the retest later today. So we will see. Obviously, there is some bulls even on this high wave candle that are now being trapped, and I think this one continues lower. But now you have the Boeing effect coming into airlines, and I think there was another plane yesterday too that was uh like the control panel stopped working. I don't know. Was it Southwest? It might have been a Southwest airplane, but it the news cycle just never it never stops. And I don't know if that was a Boeing plane. I don't know if that was a Boeing plane. Yeah, all the cameras in the parking lot didn't work, by the way. So we'll never know what happened in that parking lot. I'm assuming. I'm assuming. All right, we got LUV with that's a at least it's a retest gap, and you're opening kind of at support. I would love to see this one come down a little bit further, maybe into like this $30.47 range, but this is a retest. Um, Not even a bad location if you do like Southwest. Some resistance above you, 31. I think this one probably chops a little bit. Maybe we could get a good high wave play off this one. But at these levels, I'd prefer to try to fade this one as opposed to go short. And then we just got to wait for our opportunity. So I think we can let some of the volatility, especially with CPI coming out today too. Not that CPI is going to affect specifically airlines. Um, the news cycle is a little bit more dominant. But they got an upgrade to $40. There's somebody out there that is heavily invested to this, and they do not like this gap down today. So 18 minutes ago, they said, no, hold on. It's actually supposed to be $40. Airlines raised from buy to hold. So a little bit of positive news, but still feeling the gap down. And you are into some support. The better support is down here. The only problem is now you're starting to break some of those like good breakout candles. You're trapping some more people. That would make it a little more difficult of a trade if it does come down to 30, 48, 3. Otherwise, that's the spot I would look for. Even a little bit of a high wave candle with some moving averages, and I wouldn't mind trying to play this fade though. So we shall see. Obviously, we're going to trap a numerous amount of bulls if this support can't hold. So you're saying a pair trade, short Boeing, long SWBI. Um, uh, was it a gun though? Yeah, he somehow shot himself in the back of his head. It was just him by himself. No, yeah, I don't know how he died. I think it was through gunshot though. So, obviously Smith and Weston they are feeling pretty bullish on that from the last two. They knew. Um, yeah, I mean sometimes when the cameras go off though, sometimes it's through bed sheets and there's numerous ways. So it's not like they have the dominance on that market. But you could probably look for a fair trade. Smith and Wesson is holding up, and you did have a nice breakout. Believe it or not, all kidding aside, that is a great breakout candle 2 days ago. Was that off earnings? I haven't looked at this thing in forever. You're above all volume. You actually could get some continuation in a weird way, but 1889 would probably be your targets on that. Sounds like something from a movie. Yeah. The Oscars the other day. BP. That looks like a really intense gap. One little resistance above us that I'm looking at, and that's going to be 36.82. Lots of accumulation. Almost looks like an inverted head and shoulders. I'm going to check on XOM too for sympathy play, but BP looks pretty good. If we could get through that one little resistance, it would also help if oil's up today too. Uh, it's got a really good gap fill up there as well. I know some of you guys are probably still in on the swing trade with XOM. Come on, get BP up here. There we go. Let's take a look real quick at XOM, see if that one's getting any love too. That one already kind of broke out. Could we use a past chart to see what's going to happen today? There's our consolidation. Huh. I don't know. I don't know if we can. So we put in a little bit of a high wave. So I would say this is kind of either this candle or this candle. Both of them were high wave candles. But this is your accumulation. There's your inverted head and shoulders. I would think that this was the gap up, and we ended up actually fading, retesting. Took another day, and then we did it again. So I don't know which day we want to go off of whichever your bias is. That's your confirmation, I guess. Let's go back real quick to BP. Really good gap though. This one might be a little bit closer. This is also a retest from yesterday. I would go with the gap and go. See if this one wants to pull back. Again, I'm going to go high wave on this one. In fact, let me get this ready on the other chart, BP, just in case. Because you might have to be a little bit to the quick side on it. Looks good though. ADM, I think they had earnings yesterday. I didn't see what the earnings were. Archer Daniels with a miss of 7 cents earnings per share, and then surprise miss of $807 million. That's quite the surprise. Surprise! You lost 807 million. Like how do we not course correct during the quarter? Why didn't nobody tell me? Yeah, they're gapping up on that news. I don't know what the forecast is. Material weakness. No, it's 30. Yeah, these guys have a lot of news around them. Typically, it's best to stay away from accounting issues. I've never seen like an accounting issue really work out well for a company. Yeah, under FBI investigation. Maybe if you're like, hey, you know what, this is just a nonsense FBI case. I'd have to look more into what the case is. I know there was some, and I think that's probably the FBI investigation is the fact that they had some issues in terms of accounting. You're getting a great deal if the company comes out and they're like, okay, it was nothing, it was false. So that would be the case. But you did have a miss, and again, now keep this in mind. They're being investigated for they're being investigated for accounting. So do you trust those numbers? I don't know. Like when did the investigation start? In what quarter did that one start? So how accurate are those numbers? I don't know. But it was a miss. So I feel like if you are going to fudge some numbers, you most likely probably want to make them look better. And if that's the best they could do, the company's in trouble. But you do have a gap. Great volume. We are now very close to the breakout on this one. And with all the negativity said, as a day trade, as an owner, I'd have to wait for more information. As a day trade, you're not actually opening at a horrific spot to try to go long. But definitely would give this one a few minutes at open. You do still have to get through, and I think even if we get through the opening price of this candle, 56.89, I think that's going to take you to about 57.81. Lucian says, play it today, then you can be part of the class action lawsuit. Ooh, and get back at least $5. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if that's exactly how that works, but be like, you were in this company for 15 minutes. Lawsuit. It's not a bad try, though. I'll give you that. It's not. That wouldn't be a bad try. You know I'd be all over that one. All right, let's see what else we got. Uh, SWKS. Skyworks Solution. It's okay. I don't know what the volume usually is on this one, but looking at 109.60. Who's sending me messages? Okay. Uh, Probably this 109.57, I think, is a pretty dominant resistance on this one. If we do get through it, I'm looking for like 110.33. Let's see what the news is on it. On track for the largest percent increase since May. So they do have some positivity in terms of talks go. We are getting through some accumulation. Obviously, we were a little bit bullish on this run up, and we've been consolidating for a little bit. Maybe as a swing trade. Day trade, I think, is a little tough. We're starting to get to this heavy supply zone. So I just don't know how much room this one has. I'd prefer to stay with some of the other ones for me personally. Not saying that this can't work. This is a decent breakout day. Volume is on this high wave candle. We're now clearly above that. We got above it the very next day, a little resting. So I would prefer to be more bullish than bearish, but I think there might be other opportunities for me. All right, let's see. We got Joe in YouTube land going with Apple. Santilla wants to go with Oracle. Ooh, David Cooks is in the house. What's up, buddy? All right, Apple AAPL. Apple. Still inside day. Have we bottomed out on Apple? I think it's too soon to tell. If you own shares, though, and you're throwing a stop maybe underneath this, you have a good shot at making some money. So having a stop around $69, I think, would be decent. I would expect for Apple to actually fade back down and open. This is a gap and go, just inside candle. So look for some kind of support, maybe sitting at 172.96. Call it 173. so that the FBI don't investigate me for accounting errors. But yes, let's call it 173. Somewhere around there should be support. Interesting enough, we did come up to the resistance. So we have already hit the 174.37. If we do get a bullish day today and we can get some positivity out there on Apple, this is a spot now I think it can break through. And then that would be your trade. So we have a lot of room. I don't know that we get to 179 today. That'd be crazy bullish. But maybe even back into the opening price of this little gap down. So that would take us to 176.19, somewhere in that zone. But let's see if we get a little pullback first, see if we get some kind of double bottom, something like that, a hammer, high wave candle, something to take a break of, see if we could really use yesterday's VPOC as support. We're already kind of getting down there now. We still got we got a minute left. Let's see, we got Oracle. So they reported massive gap up. Miguel says update 3 minute just hit the massive bear volume. All right, we're gonna get that one on my other screen too. MMM, just so that we have that there as well. All right, now we got Oracle. I think they had a good gap up, so let me extend it out. Yep, really good gap. You're getting into an interesting spot. We do have a double top up there. Let's see if today we're able to break through it. We are above all volume. I would love to see a little pullback on this thing. I don't know if I necessarily want to fade this one or feel like I have to fade this one, but watch for resistance 126.71. If we start getting above there, it's probably got, I mean, not probably, it definitely has some room to go. There's nothing really stopping us from that point. But again, big major gap. I do feel like we've acquired enough shares during this time period where people can now easily sell, flip for some profits, and maybe gives us like a little potential bull trap I'd have to watch for, some kind of indecision high wave candle by the end of the day. And let's see if we get one more out there. We got Sounds. Oh, SOUD. I don't know what that is, but SOUN sounds Soundhound, I'm guessing. Soundhound looks decent. Resistance, first one is 636. The one after that takes us up. Look, I already have the trade from like a week ago. And then we got 688 would be target if we get through one more, which I think could kind of be doable. We didn't really hit that spot yet, except for on this candle. So we'll see. But that 636 would be the first one. And then if Nvidia is going, I think you have a better shot at Sound. But that is the opening bell. So I appreciate everybody joining us each and every day on YouTube. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. Be safe out there in the market. I don't think there's we got the 10-year, so watch the 10-year. Otherwise, after that, I don't think there's too much more activity to watch out for. Tomorrow, again, probably just a little bit more relaxed as we wait for PPI. But we'll see what the market wants to give us. If we get some major breaks of some of those key little support resistance spots, then I think we kind of look good for the day and we could trend. Otherwise, I think still probably just